Good evening and welcome to Literature in 60 Minutes. I am Zandile Pooe. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're tuning in from either Facebook Live, the Zoe Live Facebook Live page. You are tuning in from YouTube or from the station itself on www.zoeliveradio.co.za. So thank you so much. We are looking forward to chatting to our awesome author for the week, and his name is Fred Bohasu. He is an inspirational young leader. He was dubbed of one of SA's youngest philanthropists. He's been on many lists with many accolades. But for today, we are bringing him on to chat about his book, How to Make a Way or Making a Way Out of No Way. And that interview is coming up shortly. I have been looking forward to chatting to him because his reputation precedes him, and he's done so much in the time that he has been a speaker. He's ventured into entrepreneurship, and we look forward to hearing all about that. So tune in, stay tuned. We'll catch you right after the break.
Exercising authority over all powers of the enemy. Gospel music power. Zoe Live Radio. Zoe Live Radio, the abundant life experience.
Welcome back. And this evening we're talking to Mr. Fred Bohasu. I introduced him earlier, and I'm so excited because he is very passionate about the youth, and the youth in our country faces so much. So it's encouraging to know that there are young people who are dead set on encouraging and uplifting other young people. Thank you so much for joining us, Fred. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Zandile, for inviting me.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about who you are, without the CV side of things, but who is Fred? What does Fred do? And just break it down for us.
I'm a social entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I'm an author. I'm a facilitator. Basically, I do team buildings, corporate workshops, leadership programs, and I'm a father of a very beautiful 4-year-old girl. Co-parenting, as challenging as it is, but then I'm enjoying it.
You're getting it done.
And yeah. And I'm also a startup chicken farmer as well. So as much as I get to wear the suits and get to be in front of the people on stage, but then I also do get to sleep in a chicken coop to make sure that your 1 day old chicks, nothing bad happens to them. So I'm also a chicken farmer as well. And basically that's who Fred is. I'm a big brother to a whole lot of young people across our country.
That's wonderful, man. That's wonderful. I hope especially young men, because they, I think, are needing more and more guidance, more and more role models as well. People that they can look up to, encouraging, uplifting people that they can look up to. No, the title of your book is called Make a Way Out of No Way. So what made you choose that title?
I believe that it was a time that I've seen and I've also experienced a little bit of a point of no return. Also hearing a lot of stories, especially when I will be doing one-on-one, either coaching or just one-on-one sessions and going to different sessions, then I'll hear a lot of our people complaining that, but then there is no way that this can be done. There is no way that I can be this if I don't have that. Then, when I heard a whole lot of people complaining, and also myself at times, now and again, I will be complaining about certain things. Then I said, but now, if there is no way, surely there should be somebody who is willing to make a way. Probably during the apartheid era, there were people that would say that there is no way that a black man can be a president of a white man. There is just no way.
Indeed.
So then that's when actually this title because I'm also a man of faith as well. Yeah. I'm of a Christian faith. So I believe in not walking just by sight, but then walking by faith, meaning that you walk by what you believe, even though you don't see a way. That's why, Zandile, at night, when you drive at night, you don't see more than about 5 to 10 kilometers ahead of you. You can only see up to a certain, let's say maybe you can only see up to like maybe 2 kilometers or so. But now you still have faith that you are going to arrive where you're supposed to be going. So obviously through that, it's through faith. So it's just step by step. As long as you can see here, then here will lead you there, then there will lead you to the next point. So that's how actually this title, Make Way Out of No Way, came about.
Sure. So you spoke about believing, and that's your first chapter. Yeah. Believe, then keep going, because hearing that you're a man of faith makes it all the more significant, to kind of believe something, because believing speaks of have conceived it first in your mind before it actually happens and you see it manifesting. So your chapter, Believe, then keep going. What was your thought process there, and what are you trying to tell people there?
So the same as I was saying, Zandile, that before you can believe something, before you can see something, obviously first you have to believe it. And when you break down that word believe, it is to be what you want to see in the future. That is believe, or you live what you want to be. So meaning that you want to be a doctor, you be that now, even before you qualify. Because that is to believe. You are being what you want to live for. So now believing, in actual fact, it's a doing word. It's a verb. Yeah. It is not a noun. So meaning that you have to do believe. Because sometimes we think that believe is just the thoughts only. But now believe, it's a doing. So that's why the book of books says that without faith, without actions, or believing without actions, it's dead. It's useless.
Dead. Yes.
Yes. So you have to do it. So that's actually the first chapter. It talks about that. As much as you are conceiving it in your mind, as much as you are thinking those thoughts, the belief part does not end there, but it goes further now to now practicing it, to doing it. That is believing, because most of the times we think that belief is just, okay, I believe, yes. Do you believe that you can do it? Yes, I believe. Then that's it. But now it's
what?
Not
then what? Then what?
Then what?
Yeah.
Yes, then what? Because anybody can just say, I believe. But then the question is, then what? And now the what part is that's what actually separates ordinary men and women and extraordinary ones. The what part.
Yes, indeed. And you speak about be in control. And I think control is such an important element in how we believe certain things are going to play out in our lives. Because once you take ownership of something, you are assuming control over it. But once you don't take ownership and you rely on the prevailing circumstances to sort of dictate what your future is going to be and what direction your life is going to take, I think we see that in society a lot, that people end up, not accomplishing their dreams and the things that they can accomplish within the potential that they have, simply because they didn't take control. So I think tell us more about that section where you talk about be in control.
Yeah. I really love the way you said it. Probably you said it much better than I would. Being in control is that it's for example, it's the same as a person being a hero outside. But then when they come home, they become zeros. When they come home, as soon as they sit on a sofa, the kids run away. the wife locked themselves. Then you ask yourself, but now you are here outside, but now you are not in control of your family, I mean, for example, you will find people that a man or woman has a PhD, but you can't even keep together your own family. You can't even control your feelings, but then you've got a PhD. Then you ask yourself, but now, how come? So meaning that we have to be in charge. We have to be in control over what God has actually given us or has actually borrowed us, and we should not lose control. Because, for example, sometimes we will allow toys and titles to control us instead of us controlling the toys and titles. Then you find that, guys will be meeting Kokasi, and they will be competing about who has the most expensive toy, who has more titles.
The ego
so
trip.
Now they are not in Yep. Then they allow those toys and titles to control them, but they are not in charge. So now we have to be in charge. It's the same as money. Money should not control us, but now we should be in charge of money.
I agree.
So that's how that whole chapter came up.
Okay. So now, that's such an important element, because I think also when you don't think about the things that you have in your life and how you steward them, because you spoke about an intelligent person who's qualified academically and professionally, is esteemed. However, when it comes to the emotional side of life, they fail miserably. And people, I think, sometimes don't know how to connect the different elements of their lives and understand that the wisdom that you employ in one area does not necessarily, by osmosis transfer into another area of your life. So simply because you are established and you are intelligent and you are smart doesn't mean that those smarts can lead you to have a successful marriage or be a successful parent even. And it's a very good point that I would love to break it down further, but I think let's move on to the next chapter. And in the next chapter, you speak about overcoming your challenges particularly. So you're speaking to your reader and you're saying to them they must overcome their challenges. And under that, you speak about a big dream, the team. You speak about you having the right kind of thinking. So it's a mindset issue, thinking power as well. And you also speak of one of the many demons that tend to destroy people even once they become successful, which is jealousy. So take us through that particular chapter and what your process was there.
Maybe just before I touch on that chapter, is that being in not being in control. Where are we now? Overcoming the challenges. Is that it takes me back to when the first team went to Mount Everest to try and be at the peak of Mount Everest. A very, very fascinating story that probably many of your listeners might know, is that when Tenzin and who is that chap again? Sir Edmund Hillary. There you go. When Tenzin and Sir Edmund Hillary took that trip, actually, there were other group of people with them, but now it is only the two of them that managed to reach the peak of Mount Everest, plus minus 23,000 feet. I mean, you can imagine. I mean, back then, I think it might be about 1953, if I'm not mistaken, they did not have the current technology and the technique that we are currently having. The oxygen that they were using then, the oxygen equipment, if we were to use now, we will be committing suicide, right? But now it took a whole team. So now what they will do is that they knew that, okay, probably there will be about 4 people that will reach the summit of Mount Everest. but now we need plus minus 30 to 40 people. So now we will need some people that will take us to the main base. Just to get to the main base, we need so many people. That's all. Then from the main base, we're going to now go a bit further higher and get, maybe we can only have 10 of the strongest and the fittest one to go and set up the second base and so forth. So now it's all about a team. Because one thing that, Zandile, that especially us as people of our skin color, we failing to do is that the rest of the people are united. They understand that there is no way that you can achieve without other people.
That's true.
That's why when you go to the Jewish community, I mean, before the money goes out, probably about 6 times, it's going to revolve around to them. But then with us, Dakis, as soon as you get that cash, oh my goodness, it's out, boom, just like that. You don't even care
don't
about...
have an ecosystem. We also don't have an ecosystem.
Not at all, not at all. So now, it's one thing that we need to understand, that we need to be united. I mean, I need to understand that if somebody says that, okay, I'm looking for, let's say, a recording studio to do this and that, I need to refer my people to you. So we need to refer each other to each other. Yeah. But now we dismally failing on that because of we believe in, I just want to shine and show off and show them that my toys and tackles
outshine
are better.
As well. I think that's the problem. Shining in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with that. But outshining then becomes
outshining.
Yeah.
Yes. So now I'll also break down a bit of the word problem, and then because this book I actually wrote it just a few years ago, just a few. But then sometimes when you write so many books, you kind of like need to be reminded. But then I love when I broke down the word problem, because sometimes when we come across the problem, then we think that then that's it. I've just hit the crossroad. There is no way that I can go beyond. There is just no way. Now, when I broke it down, it says the first one, it says the power of the tongue. Now, this is now when you break down the word problem. It says the power of the tongue. Then the R for remind us that sometimes that life is going to be hard. Because, sometimes we need to be reminded that our life is going to hit. It's going to hit us. Just like now, when COVID started, some of us, I personally lost 95% of my income. Wow. So I was hit very hard. So now we need to be reminded that life, it will hit us sometimes. But now it depends on us whether are we going to hit back or are we just going to stand down.
How do we respond?
So those are the reminders.
Yeah, how do we respond? Because troubles will come, challenges will come, disappointments will come, failure will come. So how do you respond to all of those things? Because they're inevitable.
How we respond.
Yeah.
Yep, how do we respond? It's just like the saying that we don't have control over what happened or what has been said or what has been done to us, but we've got control over how we respond towards that. Then the O for opportunities, that problems present opportunities. And it's always the case. I came across the problem last year of COVID losing my main source of income, but now it brought an opportunity. I mean, that's why actually just before Zandile, we went online, I actually went to fetch one of our many motorbikes that we just bought, and we will be doing deliveries. You know what I'm saying? Also creating employment.
Well
I've never thought of that. Thank you very much. I've never thought of that. But now that was triggered because of the problem that I came across, which was to lose 95% of my income. It's the same as being a chicken farmer as well. Never thought that I would be a chicken farmer. I mean, I was like, I'm a speaker, I'm the world team builder, I'm the #1 black team builder in the country. Nothing will ever happen. Then COVID happened.
Sure. Then you had to go into solution mode. What do I do now?
My goodness.
Yeah.
I remember Zandile when I had 5 months. I'd spent 5 months without taking out even a single code.
Sure.
Not an invoice. I'm not talking about an invoice. I'm talking about just quoting a client asking that, can you quote us this? For 5 months. That's when I got to the 3rd month, then I realized, my goodness, I've never had this ever before. This is crazy. I mean, a week we will code plus minus 20 codes will be going out each and every week. But now it's almost 3 months, not even a single code. Then that's when I realized that now I need to not be stagnant. I need to come up with a solution. Otherwise, now I will die. You know, I mean, I can't feed my family, so I needed a plan. Then that's when I started that thing of being a chicken farmer, and also we do cookies as well, and a whole lot of other things, because it was a problem.
Delicious cookies, not just cookies, delicious cookies.
And you were one of our clients.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And we really appreciate you. You're one of our precious customers. And this is exactly what we're doing. And we're doing a good, I mean, if I had thought about this earlier, my goodness, I would be far. Like I would be far. So, but then thank you for the problem covered. Because of now, we've got other source of income. So now that's problem. It means that problems present opportunities. Then the blessings that I've learned, that when things go horribly wrong in one's life, that it's often a sign that we need to slow down. You know, sometimes we are very busy.
Yes.
We are so busy
sometimes, not even just busy, but we're distracted and we are not really, productive at the same time. But yeah. Not
at all. It's like we are busy, but then it's like you are moving, but then you are going nowhere slowly. Because sometimes we think that being busy is being proactive. Then you find that, but then you are busy, but then what are you achieving out of that? We are so busy that we can't even take care of our health. We are so busy that our family, we are so busy that we forget to even just to listen. You know, sometimes our families, those close to us, they just need us not to advise them and do motivational, just to be there in 16 feet. I'm just here to listen.
The gift
I'm not here to give you
presence.
Advice.
Yeah, the gift.
Yep, I'm just here.
Yeah, it is.
But then people will be telling you, I've got a hectic schedule. What if a person says no, like I'm always busy? Then that person is not in charge of their time. There's something wrong there. I mean, I know of Strive Masiwiya. Strive Masiwiya, probably on the top 10 of the richest people in Africa. Yes. I mean, that man, he says that each and every day he finds at least an hour to read. I'm like, what? Then there are people that will say, no, like I can't even sit with my children for like just 10 minutes. I'm too busy. But then here is a multi-billionaire every day still has a time to have an hour to read.
It's priorities at the end of the day. I think your time, like you said, you decide, or you break down your time according to what's important to you. So whoever Strive or whoever, when you say to yourself, this thing is important, you will create the time and you carve out the time in your very busy schedule. I mean, we're talking about a billionaire who's got, company annual turnovers on his mind, this, that, and the other, but he has time and he carves out the time for the things that are important to him.
That's true. Then the second last one will be that out of problems, we get to learn. You know, like when you fall, I always tell people that whenever you're falling, on your way down, make sure that you pick up things that will help you when you get up again.
Yeah.
So through the problems, it should be the lessons. I mean, every time when, for example, with me, COVID taught me that, Fred, 2-3 streams of income, it's never enough.
Yeah.
I mean, when the book of books says that you need to have 7 to 8 different streams of income, I mean, who am I to say, but then God died? That's too much.
Yeah.
And who am I to say, no, like there is no way. So now last year I was taught that never think that what you're doing, it's enough. Or never think that the education or what took you here will take you there.
Yes.
Because what took you here might be just for here. And then as soon as you get here, to move to the next level, now you need to upskill yourself. You need to upgrade yourself. That's why, I mean, I remember back in the days when the computers started, we had Windows 95 and 98. Oh my goodness, that thing was like a machine. But now the problem is that you could not even play a full movie.
No,
it will be playing like in like
Memory was an issue.
Then memory, like, oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? The same as, with Nokia. Look at what happened to Nokia. Who ever thought, could 25 years ago, could you ever think that Nokia would be kicked out? Everybody had Nokia.
Exactly. They had, what does they call it? They were the market leader. And they had a monopoly to a large extent because your Motorola's came in, but they were not as big in terms of market share as Nokia.
Yes.
And when it comes to leading in technology, there were leaps and bounds ahead of other players.
Yes.
But they are nowhere.
Yes.
They don't feature anywhere, especially in the device game these days. Everybody's looking at, them as maybe a technology facilitator in terms of the parts in the phone, but not necessarily the phone itself. So it's quite sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because probably they thought that we are the big thing. No one will ever replace us. Then the next thing, what you do, you start relaxing because you think that what took us to the year 2000 will also take us to the year 2021.
Yes.
So that was the biggest mistake that they did. Then the next thing, it's the same as Kodak as well. They no longer exist. But then 25 years ago, if you talk about pictures, Kodak was the big thing.
They failed
so now it
to ride
should be lessons.
Digital wave. They failed to ride and recognize the size of the digital market and look at where they are. And I like how your story goes because you were confronted by a problem and then you chose not to, you chose not to pivot direction completely, but you looked at diversifying, because diversification is very key. You don't have to be the best chicken farmer, but you can have someone run with that and be an investor there, and you can have someone run your bakery and all these things. You have a share in them. You don't necessarily have to be at the head of each and every one of them, because you also still recognize that speaking and writing and all these other skills that you are better at are still what you will continue to do as soon as, the industry opens up again. But you found a way to diversify in this season, and you're going to continue doing that moving forward. So I believe that that's what we should all look at it as. It's an opportunity for us to really diversify our streams of income as well as our knowledge base when it comes to the kind of businesses that we run.
Yeah. And meaning that another thing that I've learned from COVID is that don't just build something to last, because there was a country, I think it's Papua Guinea, I'm not sure, where they had to build a huge bridge.
Yes.
And now this bridge, because like now and again, the road will be distracted because of the hurricanes, So now then they decided that, okay, we're going to build a bridge, the biggest bridge that will outlast anything. There is no havoc that will destroy this bridge. So now this is the bridge that takes almost the whole region to the outside world, that bridge. But now the problem is that they only focused on a bridge that will outlast anything. So now what happened is that when the same thing happened, when it rained cat and dog, and then there were hurricanes and now the rivers that were always destroying these small bridges, it kind of like took a turn.
Okay.
Now it was no longer now destroying where they were used to. So now it took a turn. Then the next thing, because like I remember when I saw this image, there was a time that now that bridge, the bridge is still there. But now the problem is that the road leading to the bridge have been completely destroyed. So now there was a problem. So now they should have built something that, as much as it will outlast anything, but now it was supposed to adapt to change. You can imagine if maybe this bridge was able to maybe be able to swing the other way around. So now that would have been great. But now, I mean, it still remains there, plus minus 20 years later. Nothing has happened to that bridge, but now it's now useless now. because of it could not adapt to change. So now that's one lesson that I learned, that don't just build something to last, Fred, but now build something that will also adapt to change. I know there is some organization somewhere in Kenya, or they're helping some kids in Kenya. What they do is that they provide shoes for the kids, the poor kids in Kenya. So now these kids, they've got 3 sizes. It's a shoe, but now it's like a 3-in-1 size shoe. So now if you're wearing size 5,
I think I've seen that.
Now.
Yeah, I think.
Then when you outgrow that, then I mean you are able to adapt. Yes. You move it, then it moves 2 more sizes.
Yeah.
You know, so you've built something to last, but then at the same time you build something that will adapt to change. So that's one lesson, big lesson that I've also learned, that we must adapt to change.
As the saying goes, adapt or die.
Adapt or die.
Yeah.
Then also on E now, the second last one, it's E, that on problems, that E, it says everybody. It reminds us that everybody do go through challenges. Because sometimes we think that it always happens to me. Why me? Why should I go through this and that? But then as soon as you hear other people's stories, then that's when you realize that, no. You keep your problems, I'm fine with my problems.
I actually don't have problems. That's when you realize I actually don't have problems. I'm just complaining. Yep.
Then the last one, it's messages. The problems can communicate something out of. We might need to change our habits and evaluate our friendships as well. So sometimes the problems, it's kind of like a reminder or messages that maybe you need to check at your environment. Are you growing or are you dying? So sometimes it might be messages that maybe sit down, cool down, and start listening to the inner man. Because sometimes we're so busy, the world is so busy that we can't even hear when an inner man is speaking to us. So that's when I broke down that word, problems.
That's so profound, eh? Like, yeah, we always tend or have a tendency to focus on the problem. You know, I think what's prevalent in society is that we focus on the problem. If we look at politics, you know, if there's something out there, the news, they focus on the problem, corruption, this, that. But there's seldom, you know, an environment that people are just talking solutions. You know, people are just talking, how do we fix it? How do we get it done? How do we overcome? You know, and it's always encouraging to come across also individuals that are fueled in that manner to say, okay, yes, we recognize the problem. So, but let's spend the dominant amount of our time and thinking and energy on fixing it, on solving it. So thank you for that. I hope you.
And in the same chapter.
Yeah.
And in the same chapter, there is a title that says, I think it says, start with what you have.
Yes.
So now beginning. That was actually triggered by one of the autobiography of the late baby Jake Matlala, the boxing champion. There's a chapter where he says in his book that to be a world champion, you don't need the You don't need the equipment to be a world champion. To be a world champion, you need to want it from the heart.
Sure.
That's when I said, wow, this is so profound that you don't really need the best equipment. But now to be the world champion, you need to want it from the heart. Because once you want it from the heart, now that's when you become hungry for success. You will make a way, even when they say there is no way that you can do 1,000 chickens. I remember I told one of the guys that have been into chicken farming business for quite a while. I said, okay, within a year, I would want to start raising 1,000 chickens, but then I will just start with maybe 100 or 200. Let me see. Then he says, look here, it took me about 4 years to raise 1,000 chickens. And you want to do it within a year. Are you sure about that? I said, I would want to do it within 6 months. And he was like, really? Because of now, I was hungry. I was getting no income. So now I was hungry and I was prepared to make a way out of no way. Then 6 months later, I mean, as much as we started with only 200, then 6 months later, we were doing actually 1,500 chickens at a time, you know? So because of, I wanted it from the heart. And as much as I did not have the best of the best, I mean, when I started Zandile last year, I started this whole thing in Mamelodi at my parents' backyard, actually. So now I had to do a coop that could only take about 200 chickens. Then we said, let us see how will this be. I was there almost every single day. I will drive there and make sure that everything's fine. Some of the days, especially on weekends, when my daughter was not around, I will be sleeping over there. Then, as they say, the rest is history. So we start with what we have.
Yeah, talk about commitment. And what I like about that Baby Jake's quote is that it speaks of perspective. You know, inside out and outside in. You know, there are people who determine what's happening on the outside or allow what's happening on the outside to determine who they become on the inside.
Yeah.
And then there are people who are already what they are and want what they want and are determined to manifest that which they see in themselves and that which they dream within themselves to happen in real life. So that's the perspective that needs to shift, is that it's not about what you have in terms of resources, but it's about internally, who are you and what do you want? And once that has been established and once you clarify that, it's easy for you to go after anything and realize what you want to see happen. As you are an example.
And thank you very much. And another one is that with our tests, as much as we say they turn into testimonies, and I remember testimonies, they don't really help us because we've lived that.
Yes.
But then they get to empower and give hope to the listeners. So meaning that when we go through all these challenges, these problems, the day that we get to tell people our story, that's when we actually give hope to other people. Meaning that when you shine, you don't just shine for you, but then you shine for others. You become a blessing to others. I just want to read a quote of what Roberto Carlos, this is a former Brazilian national team player, used to play for Real Madrid as well. This is what he said. He says, because of the suffering in our country, now this is Brazil, football brings joy into the lives of people who are suffering during the rest of the year. Okay, so now that was a quote from Roberto Carlos, and I love it when he says that if we lose as a team, we are another problem for the people of our country. And he says at the end, he says, that is why we focus so much on playing with style and winning.
Yeah. Wow.
Imagine if we can all have such type of attitude, especially our sports personnel, that I'm not just here as a player, but then when we lose as a country, I'm yet another problem. I'm adding to more problems that already our people are facing. So that's why Brazilian players, they don't just put on their jersey for the sake of, I'm playing football, I'm getting paid. But then they know
bigger than that. It's much bigger.
It's way bigger than that. Way bigger than that. And if I can just quickly read this poem by Lucky Nanga. He's one of the young men that I mentored, and he actually did a book for him, a poetry book. Then I loved one of the poems. Then I said, Lucia, can I please just have this?
Please share it with me. I love poetry.
Or do you want to do it? Or?
I'd love to have him on the show because poetry is not something that's done, especially by young people. So I'd definitely like to chat to him.
Well, the title is I Came a Long Way. I grew up in a poor family without watching television. But look now, I'm appearing in the very same television I grew up in the family of starvation. But today, I'm a protein donor of food. I grew up in a family that lacks financially. But today, I'm the minister of finance. During winter, I grew up without shoes. But today, I own a shoe company. I was born inside an illiterate house in the ghetto, but today I'm a teacher. I was born without anyone listening to me, but today I'm a radio presenter. Yesterday they were saying I'm crazy, but today they come to me because I'm a physiotherapist. Yesterday I was asking and no one was responding, but today I'm their major response.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was walking up and down the street, but today I'm driving up the country. Yes, you and I can portray this philosophy. Yes, we can obtain our dreams. We can transmit from our potential, from the starting point to the end. What goes around comes around. LM Ngan. It really inspired me when
Snap
I read this
you, Mr. Ngang.
poem.
Yeah, no, that was wonderful and very encouraging. It always stirs my heart to hear from people who have come from absolutely nothing, because some people really came from absolutely nothing and have managed to build themselves up without support, without resources.
Yeah.
But they managed to fight their way through life and become successful. So, yeah. Awesome. So now, who is around you? You were talking about the people who are around you. Company, your company can make or break you sometimes. My husband loves to say people are your environment. So depending on the kind of environment that you're in, the kind of people, the kind of conversations that you have, because conversations are capital. You can talk about one thing and then it leads to another thing, and things can happen. Or you can just be those guys who are at the corner every day talking, or those girls every day, show me this, show me that, but nothing is no fruit, is coming out of those relationships. So tell us about having people and what people can do for you if you allow them, or if you shape your relationships properly.
Yeah. So that the people that are around you, as much as they can make you or break you, but then at the same time they can actually propel you to your destiny. They can, cut in half what was supposed to take you 10 years to get your destination. Because of who you have around, you can achieve it within 5 years. So it's very important to watch not only who you are around, but then also what you listen to and what are you watching constantly, because you are feeding your inner man by what you are listening to and by what you are watching. As they say that a mind stretched never goes back to its original size. So we need men and women who will always stretch our mind. I remember a couple of years ago, a friend of mine invited me to her friend's house. Then we went to, I think it was a Blue Valley or something. It might be a Blue Valley. Oh my goodness. And when we got there, this is like about 8-9 years ago.
Yes. When Blue Valley had
I saw the houses
I think it was
there.
still new. Yes. I remember that. I think I went to
Oh
Blue Valley
my
in
goodness.
2013. Yes.
Then I was like, yo, this is in our country. There's I was like, yo. Then like my mind was completely stretched on that day. Then that's when I realized that, look, these are the types of people that, honestly speaking, I would want to associate myself with, because this is the people that will show me that, look, this thing, it's possible. Because sometimes we will see people with huge houses and big cars and so forth. Then we will think, no, they like, no. We need to understand and ask ourselves, what is it that they do? When Wade Van Niekerk broke that was 200 meter. Was it the 200 meter or the 400 meter? I think it might be the 200 meter sprint, which I think Michael Johnson. I mean, when he broke it, I want to know why and how. How did he do it? Because surely, I mean, there was no way that he could have just broke that record just like that. So now I had to do some research and find out, how did he do it? How was he preparing himself? Then I realized that a few months prior to the Olympics, him and the coach, the old ladies coach, went to Jamaica to actually train with Usain Bolt. And the coach was also being mentored by Usain Bolt's coach.
Sure.
So now there was no way that coming from a couple of weeks spending with the Usain Bolt, then you will tell me that you will remain the same. There was no way. I mean, the man was fired up. The coach as well was fired up. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So now that's when he actually went on to break that record, because of now his mind was completely stretched. He saw a different world when he realized that, look here, I thought that I was preparing and practicing to break the world record and to run, but now the way Usain is doing, Usain goes beyond what you will see. I mean, Usain, his father said he only went to watch him once practice. Then after that, the father said, I will never go and watch my son practice, because it's like he's committing suicide. It's too much for me to watch my son going through that. It's way too much.
Sure.
Like, no. I cannot afford to watch my child going through such tough process, because we forget that the winning actually happens during the practice, where now there is no cameras. Then when there are cameras, already I have won. I'm just now showing you what I did.
Yeah,
that I can do it. Yeah. So it's who you surround yourself with that will actually take you there.
Yeah. Being inspired by others, because sometimes you do have those inspirational individuals, like you've said, the Usain Bolt story now, but sometimes it isn't your super performers, sometimes it is those go-getter people that you have in your own circle who are doing the most. It's that woman who's trying to start that small business there by selling vegetables or whoever. People like that can be inspirational as well.
So meaning that we shouldn't look at the rich and famous just to inspire us.
Yes.
I mean, even within our own family.
Yes.
There are heroes within our own family that we can say, wow, the way I saw my father treating and appreciate my woman as well. This is how I would want to love and take care of my children as well. So we shouldn't really go far at looking at heroes. I mean, we've got them right in our homes. And indeed, we should always be inspired by others, no matter the small things that they do. I mean, there's an old man that he stays in Mamelodi. Probably he's the most wisest human being that I've ever came across. And also the most humblest human being. If I did not know about Jesus, then I came across that man, then you told me about Jesus, probably I would say I've met Jesus. Wow. This black man is Jesus.
Good.
That's how wise, that's how humble that man is. But yet nobody knows about him. He's like my hero. I look at him, even Nelson Mandela does not even come close to what that man, and the humbleness and the wisdom that says, if you were to come into your studio, what are you doing here? Because he would get about it. But now, as soon as he listens to you for hours and hours, so you don't have to look far. from getting wisdom and appreciating.
Fred,
learning from them and being inspired by them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're so right.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Yes, I can hear you again now. And I think most importantly, you talk about knowing yourself. That is such an important foundational principle that we all need to start with, especially at a point in your life where you kind of sort of should have yourself figured out. Okay. Even if you don't know a lot, even though you know the mustard seed part, but you must know something about you. So tell us about the significance and importance of knowing yourself.
Yeah. Because remember that if you don't know yourself, then everybody will be telling you who you are. Yeah. Then that will just be a catastrophe. So now you have to know yourself. And now knowing yourself, it is to know, who you are. You need to know who you belong to. Now, we're not talking about religion, because sometimes people think, no, like, I'm not talking about religion. No. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about more of like the spirituality now. So now you need to know who you belong to. You need to know, why am I here? What is my purpose? Because as people, we just go along. As people, we just take the shape of anything like water. We take a shape of anything that you put ourselves in. You put water inside a cup, it takes the shape of a cup. You take it out, you put it inside a bowl, it takes the shape of a bowl. Whatever that you put water inside, it takes the shape of that thing. So now we should not be unstable like water. Even when we face the most difficult challenges, that should not change us. Yeah, I had an opportunity to become a multimillionaire, actually, not so long ago. But now, the only way that I was gonna be that, it was through corrupt activities. Sure. So now there will be some guys, they will say, look here, we've got opportunities. We see you. You've got a great potential. We want to partner with you. We want to fund you. But now we need this and that. Then I realized that I cannot compromise my character. I cannot compromise my faith. I cannot compromise what took plus minus 15 years to build, that I would ruin it in just 1 minute of making a decision. Because now I knew who I am. I was like, as much as I want this, oh my goodness, who does not want to be a multimillionaire? Just having a couple of millions inside the account, not doing anything, just sitting there.
Like, come on, man. we are destined for these things, but the how, though, the how you get
the how part, the how part. And I realized that I had to have a conversation with myself that, Freddie, yes, as much as you want this, it will really help you. It will change your life and your family's life. But now, when you compromise this, think about what might happen in the next year, 2 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. Yeah. Because such things, they always catch up with you. Hey. No matter what. Because once you get used to it,
the chickens will come to roost, literally.
They will definitely come back home to roost.
Yeah.
Then I was like, no ways, no thanks, but no thanks. Because I knew who I am.
Yes, I am destined, and I will get them, because it's part of my dreams, but not like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Because like it's like red poison. Zandile, red poison, it's about 99% good ingredients, and only 1% poison, and that poison, it's enough to kill you.
Whoa! Sure, that analogy though. That's
a great
analogy. Yeah.
99%, this is 99% very, very good. But this 1%, Fred, it's going to kill you.
Sure.
Don't.
And not many of us are that strong or that rooted in our values to make that kind of decision, especially with the greatest tempter of all, which is money, you know? So I think that was a great distinction that you could make to say, okay, money is important to me, but not more important than my values, than my faith, than this, than that. So those things were very much established in yourself for you to know, okay, I see you, I hear you, but no, I have boundaries and they cannot be crossed, no matter how much money is on the table.
Yes. That's why, Zandile, I don't mind coming to your house, park my car there, come to deliver the cookies. As much as I have all these accolades and achievements and being on this and that and that, you know, I don't mind that, because I know that does not necessarily define who I am. Because sometimes we think that having positions and titles, I mean, there are certain things that you can do it. I mean, there were a couple of people that actually...
Yeah, certain things start to become beneath
the speakers. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Then I realized that mean that I cannot do certain things, especially to provide for my family. I did not allow a title and a position to steal my dreams and my destiny. I just had to forget about my title and say, look here, I need to feed my family. I'm working here. I'm doing a good thing here. And one day I will be telling a story and I will be charging some serious money so that I will be telling people about what I was doing. Me going to these houses and packing my bucket there and saying, hello, I'm here to deliver the veggies, I'm here to deliver the chickens. One day I will be telling entrepreneurs, charging me a whole lot of money just for them to hear my story. That's the thing of tests become testimony, and you get to earn through your testimony.
Wow. Mr. Bohasu, it has been an absolute privilege to have you on the show. You have dropped such incredible wisdom. The weight of your being, the weight of who you are as a person is absolutely monumental. Thank you so much for sharing a bit of your story and a bit about your book. I really appreciate your time. You can please share with our audience where they can get a hold of you, because you're a motivational speaker. How they can book you for speaking or talks, as well as how they can get a hold of your book.
Well, my website is fredbohasu.co.za. That's fredbohasu.co.za. And all social media platforms, whether it be LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, also YouTube, it's Fred Bohasu. There is no underscore, there is no dot, there is no funny stuff. It's just plain Fred Bohasu on all social media platforms. Then they will also get all my contact details there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. After the break, I am going to be closing out with you guys. Please stay tuned.
Your number one inspiration station, Zoe Live Radio.
Welcome back. That was such an insightful conversation with Fred Bohasu. What stuck out for me is just how he emphasized the element of having control over your own life and choosing to take control, whatever the circumstances you may find yourself in, whatever may happen to you. You know, life happens to all of us, but whatever may happen to you, how do you choose to respond, and how do you choose to steer your life moving forward, knowing that you are the captain of your ship? So thank you so much for tuning in this week. It's a new month. It's the month of July. We have a new book that we are going to be reading in this month, and that book is Baked in Pain by Amanda Dambuza. And she is such an inspirational woman. I follow her on social media, and she's started recently to just, start her show called Vastly Sage. She is a corporate giant, a corporate executive. She has started her own business. So it's going to be really fascinating reading about the backstory to all the accomplishments that we now see and the person that she has since become. But yeah, for this week, I am signing off with you guys. I look forward to chatting to you yet again, or chatting to another awesome author yet again next week. But for this week, have a fruitful one. And yeah, God bless you.
Approaching his presence with praise and worship.
We all face situations where the odds are against us.
Zoe Live Radio, the abundant life experience.